It's Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. We've got an action-packed week ahead of us, and we're going to talk about Cardano. Get ready. Let's go. Okay, it's Wednesday. When you listen to this, it's Wednesday. And I am drinking ginger tea. The kind of ginger tea where you take actual ginger, you peel it, use the Asian spoon because it makes it easier to peel ginger. Try it, it works. And then you put that in hot water and it makes a nice tea. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, is he slowly going to build up and tell us he's drinking some kind of homemade whiskey ginger? No, you alkies, I am not. Because it's Wednesday and we have an action-packed week ahead of us. Time to get to work, boys. First item today, we now have a Backstreet Boy. That's right, folks. Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys tweeted, "Move over Bitcoin. It's Cardano turn now." Didn't even use the apostrophe because he's using the hashtag. It's Cardano turn now. Winky face. It's cleaner and better for the world when it comes to producing. So Nick Carter is taking an environmental rationale for adoption of Cardano. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that it might be a great speculative return on his part. And Charles followed up with a reference to a 90s boy band pop song. Nick Carter, pretty good-natured dude. I'm sure he goes through life and every direction he turns, somebody's throwing some kind of 90s boy band lyric at him, but he replied, "What can we say? Cardano, I want it that way." Pretty good sport, because I'm sure this dude gets so tired of the plays on words involving the lyrics of 90s boy bands, both his band and NSYNC, but this guy's a good sport. I take that to mean he really likes Cardano. So apparently pretty good dude, Nick Carter. So you might be asking yourself, why are we even talking about this? Why do we care if a 90s boy band guy is in Cardano? The reason is this guy, Nick Carter, has 600,000 followers. That involves some pretty serious network effects for any kind of system the size of Cardano's. Like, we might add a bunch of people. If 600,000 people see that tweet, that's 600,000 chances we get at somebody becoming a new Cardano participant. So pretty big deal. These network effects are a big deal. So we should be nothing but glad that Nick Carter exposed us to his entire network. Next up, there's a little bit of Twitter drama. I think most people probably saw some of this go down. So Charles went to school and lives basically in Boulder, Colorado. I think he lives outside of Boulder now, but close enough, Boulder. And he went to school at University of Colorado, Boulder. And he's going to this supermarket called King Soopers. There was an active shooter at King Soopers. Most people probably heard about it. Huge tragedy. A lot of people died. Very sad thing. So Charles made a short video about it. Someone took that opportunity to try to criticize the Cardano ecosystem, right? So Charles took that opportunity to tell the guy, honestly, go fuck yourself, you pathetic excuse for human trash, right? Pretty strong reaction, but I think, Charles is a passionate, transparent guy. He says what's on his mind, and he's pretty honest about it. I think that's what he was honestly thinking towards this guy. Pretty offended that this guy would take that opportunity to try to criticize Cardano when Charles was really just talking about these tragic events in Boulder. Here's where it gets interesting. Charles took that tweet and auctioned off the tweet. He auctioned off an NFT for the tweet. The auction price hit 4 figures pretty quickly, and the entire auction closed at 7K. So think about that for a second. Charles Hoskinson got into a Twitter fight with somebody, I think for good reason. You might disagree, but what you can't disagree about is that it's a pretty positive commentary on the strength and size of the Cardano community, that somebody was willing to pay $7,000 for that tweet. And that's happened. Of course, somebody suggested that Charles take that money and give it to the families of the victims. of this tragedy, and Charles immediately agreed. It looks like he's already found a GoFundMe to throw that money towards, and I believe he even threw $2,000 of his own on top of the 7K. So good things came out of that. This Thursday, and this is item 3. This Thursday is the Cardano 360 show. And then on Friday, it'll be Get 8 a day. Staking rewards will come down for Epic 255. So we're going to have an action-packed Thursday and Friday. It's going to be pretty close to the week. Hope everybody enjoys all that. I think we might learn a lot in this Cardano 360, including the target date for Alonzo, which will conclude Goguen and give us smart contracts. So if you have the time for it, I'd suggest tuning into that for sure. Okay, item 4. So in crypto, there's a lot of Moon Boy stuff, right? What do I mean by that? So Moon Boy stuff is basically hyper exaggerated excitement about the price that cryptos might hit one day, right? And it's usually a lot of stuff. It's usually a lot of stuff about purchasing Lambos when we go to the moon, all that kind of stuff. But this was actually, I think this was one of the most creative Moon Boy tweets I've seen in the last couple of days. So here we have Crypto Snake. That looks like a cobra right there. So I'll pronounce that Crypto Snake. Crypto Snake here says, live look at everyone holding Cardano, end of year 2021. And he took the picture of Charles in, I've actually been in this lounge. I believe this is the, what do they call it? The Chandelier Lounge at the Cosmo on the Strip in Vegas. I believe that's what that is. I could be mistaken. Somebody let me know if I'm wrong about that. But I believe I've been in that lounge, and that's I think it's called the Chandelier Lounge, and it's at the Cosmo. I think I've been inside that a few different times and had drinks and stuff. But so Charles is hanging out, luxuriating, having a good time. I'm not going to begrudge the man a good time after all the hard work. Charles actually explained this photo a long time ago. He named who this was sitting right there, and kind of a crypto social media figure. He said they're friends and that they hang out whenever there's a conference. But I liked Crypto Snake's take on this, that this could be all of us hanging out in the Chandelier Bar in the Cosmo, end of year 2021. Good job, Crypto Snake. So this last item, item number 5. So we get a lot of AMAs from Charles, and they're really good at giving us an idea of technical development within Cardano, what's going on, what they're building, what timelines are going to look like. And occasionally we hear from Sebastian of Emergo, right? So whenever Sebastian gives an in-depth interview, I try to pay close attention, right? So first of all, this is Sebastian on the Cardano podcast. Look at these two handsome bastards. I can't tell if they're going to throw a drink in my face and steal my woman, or if they're going to talk to me about dApp connectors. But I have a strange feeling that Sebastian is like living by the motto, code all day, go out in Roppongi, and kill it all night. But more importantly, they did tell us about the dApp connector. So what is this dApp connector thing? There's been this little mystery in sort of like the Cardano development plan. For me personally, I've been wondering, what is going to be the Metamask of Cardano? So, when we traditionally in crypto, when you interact with a smart contract, there's some interface for interacting with that smart contract. And traditionally, it's been Metamask, right? Which is just a little browser extension. You can use it in Chrome. A little fox, he pops up, and you can send cryptocurrency to a smart contract through Metamask by looking at a website and opening up Metamask, and then that will connect you to the correct smart contract. And then you could send a certain cryptocurrency and get back ERC20 tokens, and that's how all that works. But it's been kind of unclear what would be that sort of front-end user experience in Cardano. When we drop smart contracts, how are end users going to interact with those smart contracts? So I wasn't sure if it was going to be dataless, Yoroi, what it's going to be. It turns out it looks like Emergo is building this dApp connector, which is going to be a standalone product from Yoroi for a very interesting reason, right? So Sebastian and all the guys at Emergo, they're super smart, right? They knew that there was a little bit of a problem with these dApp connector type apps like Metamask, in that if they're a wallet and they're your connection to the dApp, then that means your wallet has to interact with the dApp. Your wallet isn't exactly Fort Knox if it's interacting with all these random websites. So instead of making the dApp connector just some functionality within Yoroi, they made it a standalone extension so that your wallet only interacts with the dApp connector, and then the dApp connector itself interacts with those websites. So the websites aren't directly interacting with your wallet, right? So they can't discover like, hey, how many ADA do you have in your wallet? Do you have, by way of asking, do you have sufficient funds to cover this? They can't discover those kinds of things that you'd probably rather keep private. So super smart, like forward-looking design by Emergo on that. I think it's gonna be super interesting. They're gonna launch this first, as obviously Goguen isn't done yet, so we don't have smart contracts on Cardano. But they do have smart contracts on Ergo already. So the dApp connector is going to be built out for Ergo first, and then they're going to use that as sort of a test bed. And then when Cardano launches smart contracts with the Alonzo Hard Fork Combinator event, at some point after that, the dApp connector will be built out and finished and be able to work with Cardano. They probably wouldn't want me calling Ergo a test bed, but I think for people who are in Cardano and maybe aren't to that point where they're going to be holding Ergo and doing things with Ergo, I think that's the way we can kind of look at it. Hopefully, if there are any problems, there always are, but those problems, hopefully a lot of those kinks will be ironed out on the Ergo side, and we'll get an even more mature product than usual by the time it hits Cardano. So that's a little mystery solved. Big thanks to Sebastian and Cardano Podcast for laying that out. Really interesting podcast. It was only 30 minutes long, but if you want a little insight into the way Emergo approaches its role within the Cardano ecosystem and the way they're approaching sort of the user experience with both Ergo and Cardano smart contracts, highly suggest checking out that podcast. And with that, I will see you tomorrow.